My name is Merer. I am an inspector of 40 men. That is my crew, hauling stone up the ramp with the half-built horizon of Khufu behind them. No cranes, no wheels, no machines of any kind. Just rope, wet sand, and the bodies of 20,000 people who got up before dawn every morning for 20 years. This is what it actually looked like. I wake in darkness. The dormitory smells like bread and sweat and the linen of 40 sleeping men. The barracks at Hayt al-Gharab are long stone galleries with wooden beam roofs, each one built to hold a full crew. The snoring is its own kind of weather. Before the sun clears the plateau, I am awake. My hands find the leather satchel before my feet find the floor. Inside, a reed pen, a ceramic ink cake, and a roll of papyrus. I am a foreman, and I am an accountant. Every day, I write where we go, what we carry, and who was there to carry it. I write in columns, like a table. If your age has something called a spreadsheet, you would recognize my work. I dress in the dark. A short, white linen kilt, belted at the waist with a leather cord. No shirt. The air is already warm before dawn. I wrap a headcloth to keep the sun off my neck and sling the satchel across my chest. On my feet, nothing. You do not wear sandals on a boat deck. You need to feel the wood. My breakfast is bread, flat and dense, baked in the clay ovens that run all night. The flour is ground from emmer wheat and it is full of sand. The sand comes from the grinding stones and it wears your teeth flat over the years. Every man here has ground teeth. It is the price of being fed. There is beer too, thick and sweet, brewed on site and distributed by crew. It is not a luxury, it is a ration. You do not haul 2.5 tons of stone on an empty stomach. My title is Inspector. In the language of this age, it is written Sehedi. I lead a team of 40 boatmen. We are one crew of 4 that make up the escort team of the Uraeus of Khufu is its prow. 200 men in total. The Pharaoh does not know my name. The Vizier, Ankaf, does. That is enough. There is a river that no longer exists in your time. Scientists in the year 2024 found its path by reading the land from above with radar. They called it the Alamat branch, the Pyramids branch. We had no name for it. It was just the river. It ran 64 kilometers along the edge of the desert plateau, right past every pyramid your age still argues about. It was half a kilometer wide, deep enough to carry fully loaded cargo boats, and it was the highway that made everything possible. Without this river, the pyramid does not exist. You cannot carry 2.5 tons of stone 15 kilometers over sand. You carry it on water. Every morning, my crew and I board our boat at the harbour called Rocher Khufu, the entrance to the pool of Khufu. It is an artificial basin fed by the Alamat branch, sitting at the foot of the Giza plateau. From the deck, you can see the horizon rising behind the quay. Half finished, crawling with workers, impossibly large, even now. We sail south to Tura. The quarry at Tura sits on the east bank of the river. The limestone here is different from the rough blocks inside the pyramid. Tura stone is fine, dense and white. When you polish it, it catches the sun and throws it back. This is the casing stone, the skin that will make the horizon shine. My men do not cut the stone. Quarrymen do that, with copper chisels and wooden wedges. They soak the wedges with water until the wood swells and the rock cracks along the line they have chosen. It is slow and it is precise. Each block weighs 2.5 tons. When the blocks are ready, we load them. We use wooden rollers and ramps to bring each stone down to the water, and then we slide them onto our cargo boat. She is flat-bottomed, built for weight, not speed. When she is loaded, she sits so low in the river that you can reach out and touch the water from the deck. And then we sail back north. The wind is not always kind. When it blows from the north, we row. 40 men on oars, the boat heavy with stone, the current helping, but never enough.
When the wind turns south and catches the sail, the boat moves with purpose, and we rest our arms and watch the desert slide past. The sun climbs. The river smells of silt and reeds and warm wood. The white blocks on the deck catch the light, and you squint against the glare. About every 10 days, we make 2 or 3 round trips, 30 blocks per trip, 200 blocks per month. That is what my logbook says. That is what I report to the noble Ankaf, who stands at the harbour each day with his staff of office and his beaded collar of turquoise and carnelian, watching every boat arrive and every block counted. When you dock at Khufu, the scale hits you in the chest. It is not a quiet jetty, it is a controlled frenzy. Boats arrive from Tura, from Aswan, from quarries you have never heard of. Teams of men unload stone blocks onto wooden sleds. Overseers shout tallies. Scribes sit under linen awnings writing on papyrus, and nothing, absolutely nothing, moves without a record. And behind all of it, rising from the plateau like a white mountain that should not exist, is the horizon of Khufu. Even half-finished, it does not look possible. It is the largest thing any human being has ever built. It will stand 481 feet when it is done. Over 2 million blocks of limestone, stacked with a precision your engineers would struggle to match. The base is level to within 2 centimeters across 13 acres. No one told these builders they were doing something impossible, because no one had done it before. There was nothing to compare it to. There was no word for impossible yet. They just kept going. The casing stones from Tura are the final layer. The masons work from the top down, polishing and fitting each block as the ramps are pulled apart behind them. The men at the top are the most skilled workers on the entire site. They shape the white limestone with copper tools and sand abrasive until each face is smooth enough to reflect the sky. Their hands are stained copper green. Their forearms are thick from years of this work. They do not complain. They are proud of their hands. But first, you have to get the stone up there. They use sleds, wooden sleds on prepared ramp surfaces. And the trick, the one that keeps people from your age guessing, is water. A man stands at the front of each sled and pours water from a ceramic vessel onto the sand ahead of the runners. Not too much, not too little. Just enough to bind the grains together and cut the friction in half. A team pulls the sled with ropes, and the stone glides over wet sand as if the desert itself has decided to help. At the ramp, they use posts. Wooden posts, driven into holes drilled along both edges of the slope. Ropes loop around the posts and back to the sled, and each post becomes a lever that multiplies the pulling force. A team on the stairs above hauls the rope, and the posts do the rest. This is how you move a 2.5-ton block up a slope of 20% with nothing but muscle and geometry. Your people found the proof at a quarry called Hatnub in 2018. The ramp was still there 4,500 years later. Post holes, stairways, rope marks scored into the stone, all of it preserved in the desert air. I have done this crossing 300 times or more. The rhythm of it enters your body. The creak of the boat, the slap of water against the hull, the shout when the stone hits the sled, the rhythmic chant of 20 men hauling rope. I hear it in my sleep. My hands are calloused in the shape of a rope and a reed pen. The callus from the rope is on my left palm. The callus from the pen is on my right thumb. I am both the muscle and the record. The day does not end when the stone is delivered. At dusk, I walk back to the workers' village, the place your archaeologists call Hayt al-Ghurab. It is not a camp, it is a city. A city built for 20,000 people and designed to keep them healthy, fed, and working. There are long galley-style dormitories with stone walls and wooden roofs. A bakery that produces enough bread for every mouth on this site every single day. A brewery that keeps the beer flowing.
A butcher's yard where cattle are slaughtered and distributed by crew. We eat bread and beef and drink beer, and the beer is good. There are physicians who set broken bones and stitch wounds closed with linen thread. Dentists who drill teeth. A man in my crew cracked 2 ribs when a rope snapped under load last season. The physicians bound his chest with linen strips and packed the wrapping with honey. He was back on the boat within a month. Another man lost the tip of his finger to a chisel. They cauterized it, and he was working the next week. This is not suffering. This is not a death march. This is the most organized construction project in the history of the world, run by people who understood that you cannot build something eternal with miserable, broken workers. You have to feed them. You have to heal them. You have to give them rest days. And you have to make them proud of what they are building. The Greeks, 1,000 years later, will look at the finished pyramid and assume slaves built it. They are wrong. The records are clear. These are skilled workers, organized into named teams with names like the Friends of Khufu and the Drunkards of Menkaure. They are paid in rations of meat, grain, and beer. They are rotated home to their villages between seasons. They build tombs for each other when they die, and they decorate those tombs with care. And then, one morning, it is done. The last casing stone is set. The capstone, sheathed in electrum, a bright alloy of gold and silver, catches the first light of dawn and throws it across the plateau like a second sun. The horizon of Khufu is complete. There is no moment in your history quite like it. Every surface is white, seamless, blazing. From the river, it looks like a single piece of stone fallen from the sky. From the workers standing at its base, it looks like something that should not exist, and yet does, because they built it with their hands. I am standing at the harbor when the light hits. I have my logbook open. The columns of days and distances and loads. Every block I carried is in there somewhere, holding up that light. 200 blocks a month, 10 days at a time, for years. And now it is finished, and the sun is touching every surface I helped to place, and the thing is blazing like a second star on Earth. 20,000 people, working in rotating crews over 20 years. No wheels, no iron, no cranes, no pulleys. Copper, wood, rope, water,
and the human body, organized at a scale your age still struggles to match. A century will pass, then 5, then 10. The river that carried my stones will shift east and vanish beneath sand and farmland. No one will be able to reach the pyramid by boat anymore. The Greeks will arrive and call it a wonder. Earthquakes will shake the white casing loose. Builders will strip it block by block to raise the mosques and walls of Cairo. The skim will disappear. The golden core will be exposed. Sand will blow against it. The edges will soften. The capstone will be gone. No one alive will remember what it looked like when it was finished. And my logbook, rolled and tied with cord, will sit sealed in a cave by the Red Sea for 4,500 years, waiting. In 2013, a French archaeologist named Pierre Tallet opens that cave at a place called Wadi al-Jaf. He finds hundreds of papyrus fragments, among them my logbook. He reads my handwriting. He follows my routes from Tura to the horizon and back again. For the first time in 45 centuries, someone from your world holds a first-hand record of the pyramid being built. Not a legend, not a guess, not a theory passed through 10 generations of scribes. A work log written in ink by a man who loaded the boats and counted the blocks and walked the ramp and sat down at the end of the day to write it all down. Zahi Hawass, who has spent his life digging in the sand at Giza, calls it the greatest discovery in Egypt in the 21st century. And in 2024, a scientist named Eman Gonaim uses radar to map the land from above and finds the river I sailed, the Akhramat branch, 64 kilometers long, buried under farmland and sand.
She proves that the highway I used every 10 days was real, that the water was there, that the boats had a way to reach the plateau. Everything I wrote down was true. The routes, the blocks, the days, the river. My name is Merer. I am an inspector. I led 40 men across a river that no longer exists, carrying stone to a building that will never fall. I wrote it all down, and 4,500 years later, someone found my notes and believed me. If this is the first time you have heard this story, subscribe. There are 200 more voices waiting, more witnesses, more of history told through the eyes of the people who were there. This is lived, history through their eyes. I will see you in the next one.